Your old life is over. Prepare for abundance. Your old life is ending, not because something has gone wrong, but because something far better is finally ready to begin. There comes a moment in every person's journey when the familiar no longer fits, when old fears lose their grip, and when the version of you that accepted limitation quietly fades away. If you found this message today, take it as an invitation to stop mourning the chapter that is closing and start celebrating the extraordinary chapter that is opening. You are not losing your life. You are outgrowing it. Every challenge you have faced has been preparing you for this exact moment. Every delay strengthened your patience. Every disappointment refined your vision. Every closed door redirected you towards something far better than you could have imagined. What once felt like rejection was often protection, and what seemed like waiting was actually preparation. Now the season of surviving is ending, and the season of thriving is beginning. Abundance is not reserved for a fortunate few. It is the natural expression of a mind that has learned to believe in possibility instead of limitation. The moment you release the identity built around lack, fear, struggle, and disappointment, you create space for opportunities that seemed impossible before. The greatest transformation does not begin in your bank account, your relationships, or your career. It begins in your consciousness. When you see yourself differently, the world begins responding to you differently. New opportunities appear, unexpected doors open, meaningful relationships find you, and solutions emerge where obstacles once stood. This is not luck. It is the result of becoming the person who is ready to receive more. So today, make a decision that your past no longer has permission to define your future. Let go of every story that says you are too late, too broken, too ordinary, or too unworthy. Those stories belong to someone who no longer exists. A stronger, wiser, more confident version of you is stepping forward right now. Walk into this message with an open heart and an expectant mind, because your old life is over. The struggle is ending, a new identity is rising, and if you are willing to embrace it completely, the abundance you have been seeking may be much closer than you ever imagined. The end of your old identity is the beginning of your new reality. The greatest transformation you will ever experience does not begin when your circumstances change. It begins when your identity changes. Every result you see in your life is connected to the story you have been telling yourself about who you are. If you have spent years believing that life is a constant struggle, that success belongs to other people, or that happiness is always just out of reach, those beliefs quietly become the foundation of your daily experience. But there comes a defining moment when you realize that the old version of yourself no longer deserves to control your future. That version was created by past disappointments, temporary failures, painful memories, and the opinions of others. It learned to expect rejection because it had been rejected before. It learned to fear change because uncertainty once brought discomfort. It learned to settle because it believed abundance was meant for someone else. Yet none of those experiences define your true potential. They were chapters in your story, not the conclusion. The person you are becoming is not limited by what happened yesterday. Every sunrise is an opportunity to think differently, choose differently, and ultimately become someone different. When you consciously release the identity built on fear, lack, self-doubt, and limitation, you begin creating space for confidence, peace, courage, and abundance to take root. This inner shift is powerful because life consistently reflects the assumptions you repeatedly accept about yourself. If you identify as someone who is worthy of love, capable of success, and prepared for prosperity, your thoughts, decisions, and actions naturally begin aligning with those beliefs. You start noticing opportunities instead of obstacles. You begin speaking with confidence instead of hesitation. You make decisions based on possibility instead of fear. The outer world responds differently because your inner world has changed first. This is why true abundance is never just about money, possessions, or achievements. It is about becoming the version of yourself who naturally expects good things, who welcomes opportunities without guilt, and who understands that growth is a lifelong process rather than a distant destination. Let go of the belief that you must carry your past forever. The mistakes you made taught valuable lessons, but they were never meant to become permanent labels. The disappointments you endured strengthened your resilience, but they were never meant to define your identity. Every challenge developed wisdom that now prepares you for a greater season. Imagine waking up each morning without carrying the emotional weight of old failures. Imagine introducing yourself to the world not through the lens of who you used to be, but through the confidence of who you have chosen to become. That is where genuine freedom begins. Your old identity served its purpose by teaching you what no longer belongs in your life. Now it is time to release it with gratitude instead of regret. Walk forward knowing that your future is not created by your history, but by the person you decide to embody today. Every positive thought strengthens your new foundation. Every courageous action confirms your new identity. Every moment you choose hope over fear, gratitude over complaint, and faith over doubt, you reinforce the truth that your old life is over. A new reality is already unfolding, and it begins with the simple yet life-changing decision to believe that you are no longer the person you once were. You are becoming someone stronger, wiser, more peaceful, and fully prepared to receive the abundance that has been waiting for you all along. Abundance begins as an inner decision. Abundance does not suddenly arrive one morning because the world has finally decided to reward you. It begins the very moment you make a firm inner decision that you are no longer available for a life of limitation. Before prosperity becomes visible in your circumstances, it is born in your thinking. Every remarkable transformation starts with a choice, a quiet but powerful commitment to stop identifying with scarcity and start embracing the mindset of possibility. Many people spend years waiting for external evidence before they allow themselves to feel hopeful, confident, or grateful. They tell themselves, "I'll believe when I see it." But lasting change works in the opposite direction. You begin by believing, and then your actions, attitudes, and opportunities gradually reflect that belief. The quality of your life is deeply influenced by the quality of the assumptions you consistently hold. If you continually expect disappointment, your attention naturally focuses on problems. If you constantly expect rejection, you may unknowingly push away meaningful opportunities. But when you decide to expect growth, favor, success, and abundance, your mind begins searching for possibilities instead of limitations. This single shift changes how you respond to every situation. Challenges become lessons instead of defeats. Delays become preparation instead of punishment. Closed doors become redirections instead of failures. Your perspective transforms long before your circumstances do, and that transformation becomes the foundation upon which your new life is built. Making an inner decision for abundance also means releasing the habit of seeking permission from the outside world. You do not need everyone to understand your vision before you believe in it. You do not need perfect conditions before you choose confidence. You do not need every answer before taking your next step. The most successful people are often those who learned to move forward while uncertainty still existed. They trusted that each step would reveal the next one. In the same way, abundance grows when you stop postponing your confidence until everything feels secure. Confidence is not the result of certainty. It is the willingness to keep believing even while the future is still unfolding. Every day offers countless opportunities to reinforce this decision. When you choose gratitude instead of complaint, you strengthen your abundance mindset. When you celebrate another person's success instead of comparing yourself, you prove that you believe there is more than enough for everyone. When you speak positively about your future, instead of repeating stories of struggle, you train your mind to expect better outcomes. These simple choices may seem small, but repeated consistently, they reshape the way you experience life. Abundance is also deeply connected to your willingness to receive. Many people unknowingly resist the very blessings they desire because they feel unworthy, guilty, or afraid of change. They dream of success while secretly believing they do not deserve it. They desire loving relationships while carrying old beliefs that tell them they will always be disappointed. True abundance requires opening your heart as much as your mind. It asks you to accept that you are worthy of joy, meaningful opportunities, healthy relationships, financial growth, peace of mind, and a future that exceeds your previous expectations. Receiving is not selfish, it is an act of trusting that life has more to offer than survival. Every time you choose hope over fear, expectation over doubt, and gratitude over worry, you strengthen the reality you are creating. The decision for abundance is not something you make once and forget. It is a daily commitment to think, speak, and live as someone who knows that better days are not merely possible, they are already on their way. As you remain faithful to that inner decision, your outer world begins to reflect the confidence, peace, and prosperity that first took root within you, proving that every abundant life begins with one courageous choice to believe that your future can be greater than your past. Stop looking back at what no longer defines you. One of the greatest barriers to stepping into abundance is the habit of constantly looking back at a version of yourself that no longer exists. It is impossible to fully embrace a new future while remaining emotionally attached to an old story. Many people unknowingly carry yesterday into today, allowing past failures, disappointments, broken relationships, missed opportunities, and painful memories to shape their expectations of what tomorrow will bring. They replay old conversations, relive old mistakes, and continue de-identifying with seasons that have already ended. But your past is meant to be a place of reference, not a place of residence. It contains lessons that can strengthen you, but it should never become the prison that limits your future. Every experience you have lived through has contributed to your growth, yet none of those experiences have the authority to define your destiny unless you continually give them permission. There comes a powerful moment when you must decide that the story of struggle is over. The chapter of self-doubt has ended. The identity built around fear, rejection, and limitation has reached its conclusion. From this moment forward, you have the opportunity to write a completely different story, one filled with confidence, peace, purpose, and abundance. Letting go of the past does not mean pretending that difficult moments never happened. It means refusing to allow those moments to dictate who you are becoming. Every setback carried a lesson. Every disappointment developed resilience. Every delay taught patience. Every obstacle revealed strengths that you may never have discovered otherwise. Instead of asking why something happened, begin asking what it prepared you to become. This simple shift transforms painful memories into valuable wisdom. Rather than seeing yourself as someone who has been defeated, you begin recognizing yourself as someone who has been refined. The challenges that once seemed determined to break you have actually equipped you with greater strength, deeper compassion, and clearer direction. They shaped your character, but they do not determine your future. The person you are today possesses knowledge, courage, and experience that your former self could never have imagined. That is why you no longer need to carry the emotional weight of old disappointments. You have already taken the lessons. Now leave the burdens behind. Abundance requires emotional space. When your heart and mind are filled with regret, resentment, guilt, or fear, there is little room for hope, creativity, and expectation. Releasing the past creates that space. It allows you to welcome new opportunities without comparing them to old failures. It allows you to trust people without assuming every relationship will end the same way. It allows you to pursue your dreams without expecting disappointment before you even begin. Every day you have a choice. You can replay yesterday or create today. One choice keeps you stuck, the other moves you forward. The future responds to the direction of your attention. When your attention remains fixed on what was lost, you overlook what is being offered. But when your attention turns toward possibility, your awareness expands, and you begin noticing doors that were always there, waiting for you to walk through them. Today is your invitation to stop introducing yourself through the lens of your old life. You are not your greatest mistake. You are not your worst season. You are not the rejection you experienced, the opportunity you missed, or the dream that once seemed impossible. Those moments belong to a previous chapter, and that chapter has fulfilled its purpose. Your new life begins the moment you stop seeking permission from your past to move forward. Lift your eyes toward what is ahead with confidence and expectation. Believe that greater opportunities, meaningful relationships, financial breakthroughs, inner peace, and lasting fulfillment are all possible because you have become someone prepared to receive them. Your old life is over, not because it was meaningless, but because it has completed its assignment. Now it is time to walk boldly into the future, carrying only the wisdom of yesterday while leaving every limitation behind. The best chapters of your life are not the ones you keep remembering. They are the ones you are about to live. Expect bigger opportunities and unexpected blessings. One of the clearest signs that your old life is truly behind you is that your expectations begin to change. Instead of waking up wondering what might go wrong, you begin anticipating what could go right. This shift may seem simple, but it has the power to transform every area of your life. The future belongs to those who are willing to expect more than yesterday could offer. For too long, many people have conditioned themselves to prepare for disappointment. They lower their expectations to avoid being hurt. They convince themselves not to dream too big because they fear failure. They expect delays instead of breakthroughs, lack instead of abundance, and struggle instead of peace. But the moment you decide that your old life is over, you must also decide that your old expectations are over. You are no longer preparing for another cycle of limitation. You are preparing for a season of expansion. Your mind becomes a place where possibility grows stronger than fear, and hope becomes louder than doubt. When you begin expecting greater things, you naturally notice opportunities that you once overlooked. What seemed impossible suddenly appears achievable because your perspective has changed. You become more willing to take positive action, to welcome new relationships, to learn new skills, and to walk through doors that once intimidated you. Every great achievement begins with the expectation that something better is possible. Unexpected blessings often arrive in ways you could never have planned. Life has a remarkable way of opening doors that did not exist when you first began your journey. A conversation introduces you to the right person. A new idea inspires a successful business. A challenge reveals a hidden talent. A closed door redirects you toward an opportunity that proves to be far greater than the one you originally wanted. Looking back, many of the events that once seemed like setbacks become the very moments that positioned you for your greatest growth. This is why you should never become discouraged by temporary delays or changes in direction. Sometimes the path changes because the destination has become even better. Your responsibility is not to control every outcome, but to remain open, hopeful, and ready to receive what is unfolding. When your heart is filled with expectation instead of anxiety, you stop resisting change and begin cooperating with it. You realize that every new day carries possibilities that did not exist yesterday. Preparing for abundance also means prep yourself emotionally to receive more than you have ever experienced before. Greater opportunities often require greater confidence, greater responsibility, and greater faith in your own abilities. If you continue thinking like the person you used to be, you may unintentionally reject the very opportunities you have been asking for. Instead, begin seeing yourself as someone who belongs in rooms filled with success, wisdom, creativity, and influence. Believe that meaningful relationships can enter your life. Believe that financial improvement is possible. Believe that your health, peace of mind, and sense of purpose can continue growing. These beliefs are not wishful thinking. They are the foundation of a life that remains open to progress instead of trapped by fear. Every day, reinforce these expectations through gratitude, positive thinking, and courageous action. Speak about your future with confidence instead of uncertainty. Celebrate every small victory because each one is evidence that you are moving in the right direction. Remember that abundance is rarely limited to one area of life. As your thinking expands, you often experience growth in multiple areas at once. You become richer in wisdom, stronger in character, deeper in relationships, more confident in your purpose, and more grateful for the journey itself. Material success becomes meaningful because it is supported by inner peace and genuine fulfillment. The greatest blessing is not simply receiving more, it is becoming more. As you continue embracing your new identity, expect life to surprise you in beautiful ways. Opportunities you never imagined will begin to appear. Connections that once seemed impossible will become natural. Dreams that felt distant will move within reach. Let every sunrise remind you that your old life has ended, and a new season filled with abundance, growth, unexpected blessings, and extraordinary possibilities has already begun. Walk into each day believing that the best is not behind you, it is waiting just ahead, ready to unfold one opportunity at a time. Live today as the person who already has it. The final step into abundance is not waiting for your life to change. It is choosing to live today as the person you are becoming. Too many people postpone joy, confidence, gratitude, and peace until they see visible proof that everything has improved. They tell themselves, when I have more money, I'll feel secure. When the opportunity arrives, I'll believe in myself. When the right relationship appears, I'll finally feel complete. But lasting transformation does not begin with external evidence. It begins with an internal decision. The future you desire is built by the person you choose to be today. Every thought you entertain, every word you speak, and every decision you make either strengthens your old identity or reinforces your new one. If your old life is truly over, then there is no reason to continue thinking, speaking, and acting as though you are still trapped in it. Instead, begin carrying yourself with the quiet confidence of someone who knows greater things are already unfolding. Let your attitude reflect hope rather than fear. Let your conversations reflect gratitude rather than complaint. Let your choices reflect faith rather than hesitation. The identity you consistently embody becomes the blueprint for the reality you eventually experience. Living as the person who already has it does not mean pretending that challenges no longer exist. It means refusing to let temporary circumstances dictate your permanent mindset. Every successful individual has faced uncertainty, obstacles, and moments of doubt. What separated them was not the absence of difficulty, but their refusal to let difficulty define their identity. They continued moving forward because they believed their current circumstances were temporary, while their vision for the future remained constant. You can make the same decision today. Instead of asking, why isn't my life changing? Begin asking, who am I becoming through this process? Growth is always happening before results become visible. A seed grows beneath the surface long before anyone sees it break through the ground. In the same way, your confidence, resilience, wisdom, and expectation are developing even when outward evidence seems slow to appear. Trust the process. Continue nurturing your new mindset because every consistent thought and action is shaping the future you are preparing to enter. One of the most powerful habits you can develop is gratitude for what already exists while remaining excited for what is still to come. Gratitude is not denying your goals, it is appreciating your present while welcoming your future. When you become thankful for your progress, your lessons, your strengths, and even the opportunities hidden inside challenges, you shift your focus away from lack and toward abundance. This perspective creates emotional freedom. You stop measuring your worth by what you currently possess and begin recognizing the incredible value that already exists within you. Confidence grows naturally because it is no longer dependent on circumstances. Peace becomes steady because it comes from within rather than from changing situations. This inner stability allows you to make wiser decisions, build healthier relationships, and pursue meaningful goals without being controlled by fear or insecurity. Every morning offers a fresh opportunity to step into your new identity. Wake up expecting good things. Speak kindly to yourself. Choose thoughts that support your future instead of repeating stories from your past. Make decisions that align with the life you desire rather than the life you are leaving behind. Surround yourself with people, habits, and ideas that inspire growth instead of reinforcing limitation. Celebrate every step forward, no matter how small, because consistent progress always leads to remarkable transformation. Remember that abundance is not simply something you receive, it is something you embody. It is reflected in your generosity, your confidence, your optimism, your discipline, your gratitude, and your willingness to believe that your best days are still ahead. As you continue living each day from this renewed perspective, your outer world will gradually begin reflecting the change that first took place within you. Doors will open, opportunities will increase, relationships will deepen, and new possibilities will emerge in ways you could never have predicted. Your old life has served its purpose, and it is now behind you. Stand tall with confidence, move forward with expectation, and embrace each new day with unwavering faith. The life of abundance you have imagined is no longer a distant dream. It begins the moment you decide to live today as the person who already knows it is on the way.